Hey, this is Terry. Welcome back to another episode of Flavors in the Heart. Today we are going to make my banana bread. What I love about this banana bread is that it takes the bananas and we microwave them and we get some of that juice out, and then we reduce it down so that there's not as much juice in it. And then I use butter to give it a more nutty flavor. And then we've also roasted the walnuts to give it a nice little crunchiness. So let's get started. All right, so for this recipe, I'm gonna use my my notes here. So you need 1 3/4 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of table salt, 6 very ripe bananas, 8 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and then 2 eggs. 3/4 cup of light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of walnuts, toasted and then chopped up. So first we're going to start off with, we're going to take our bananas, and I've already got them in a bowl here, and I've just split them in half and then put them in here, and then I put the saran wrap and then I slit some holes in it, and we're going to put this in the microwave. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring the juice out, and then we're going to try to get roughly 1/2 to 3/4 cup out of this. We'll reduce that on the stove, and then it's going to give it a more moist banana bread. So I know when you think of banana bread, you actually think of it being moist. Well, this is going to actually make it better. So let's get this in the microwave, because this can take roughly 5 to 7 minutes, and we want to get that started. So we'll stick that in there. I'm going to try to stay in your line of sight. There we go. And let's see, my butter. I don't know what it is. I have this problem with my butter in the microwave, and it always makes a mess. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stick this here. And in this bowl I've got my flour, I've got my baking soda, and I've got my salt, and I've just whisked that together. And make this a fairly large bowl, because you're going to add your bananas into this once they get done. The banana process is quite interesting, because basically you're microwaving it, you're pulling that out, we're going to stick it in a strainer, and we're going to strain out that liquid. And then we're going to stick it on the stove, and we're going to combine it with our brown sugar, our eggs, and our vanilla, and then that's going to give that smooth textury flavor, or the smooth texture, which is nice. And so we've got all that whisked together. And then right now we're going to wait for the bananas to come out of the microwave. So once they come out, we're going to go ahead and stick them in the strainer. We're going to strain those juices out, and then get that on the stove and get it to reduce, and that's it. So come on back, and we'll get this going. Alright, so those bananas are ready to be pulled out. So we're going to pull them out, and then we're going to stick them in the strainer. And they look like they're steaming in here, so we're going to take them out, stick them in the strainer. Make sure you use a pot holders or a towel, and be very careful, because it is hot, as I touched it. And then we're going to stick them in the strainer. And what I did is I just stuck a measuring cup underneath, and watch out, there's a lot of steam in there. And set that right down there, and then put these in the strainer. There we go. And there's a lot of that liquid in there, and what you're going to do basically is take that liquid, and you're going to reduce it down, and then there's not going to be as much in there, but you're still going to get that smooth texture in your banana bread. So I'm going to go ahead and just smash them down, just to get some of that out of there. And then a reminder to turn your oven on to 350. And then with the banana bread, banana bread is such a, any bread is actually a very delicate thing. So you want to make sure that it's roughly 55 to 75 minutes, and there's such a variance in time, because you never know from the elevation of where you're living. So the best way that you can do to take care of that is getting your toothpicks out and just sticking it in there, and then when it comes out clean, then you know it's ready. Then you won't be disappointed in the end, because banana bread is something that doesn't last long in my house. So we're going to go ahead and continue to strain this and mash those bananas down. But I'm just looking here, and we're close. Still got a little bit left. I'd like to get at least 3/4 of a cup, if not a cup, because we're going to reduce it down to 1.5 or to a half a cup. That's Cooper. Cooper, nobody's here. It's just Daddy. All right, so come on back. We're going to go ahead and put this juice in the saucepan and get this liquid reduced. All right, so we've got our juice from the bananas. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it in our saucepan, and we're going to reduce it down to roughly a half a cup. So medium heat, you're going to simmer it for roughly about 5 minutes, and don't let it burn. It's not a good taste. That's all I got to say. All right, so while the banana juice is simmering, we're going to go ahead and take care of our bread pan. And like I said before, I like to either take it outside because of the aerosols, or I'll just put it in my sink and then spray the pan out so that I'm getting an even coat. Make sure you get in the corners. You'll thank yourself later on when you're trying to turn your pan upside down and get your banana bread out, and it also gives it a nice even coat when it's in the pan. So it does definitely do more than just the release. So come on back. We're going to get our banana juice here reduced, and then we're going to mix it up and get it in the oven. Let's get cooking. All right, welcome back. So we're reducing our banana juice here, and it looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take it off, and then we're going to combine it here with the mashed bananas that we have, and make sure that we get it all. Put that in there. Pan's going to be hot, so you want to return it back to the stove, let it cool, and then we're going to take our potato masher. I've got a different one than most. And we're going to just mash these in with the liquid. And then once we get that, then we're going to add our other ingredients. So let's get this mashed. The only thing I don't like about banana bread is that it takes too long. Once the smell is in the air, everybody's in the house, in the kitchen, going, when is it going to be done? When is it going to be done? So I try to do it in the morning when everybody's out, so that when everybody comes back later in the morning, then it's done already and it's on the counter, and then it's gone. So I usually make 2. This week I only had the 5-6 bananas over there, so I was like, okay, we're only going to make 1, but you will definitely be very happy with this recipe. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our, we're going to whisk, and we're going to whisk in our butter. So that was 8 tablespoons, unsalted, and just get in there, get it mixed together. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to add our brown sugar. I don't like to add the eggs until at the end, because the liquid is still hot and I don't want the eggs to cook. So time we add this in there, the brown sugar, and then whisk that around, and then everything will be cooled enough that I can add those eggs in there and get this mixture going, and then we'll put it in with the flour, salt, and the baking soda, and get it in the oven and get that ooey gooiness in our mouth. All right, that wasn't too difficult. All right, so let's get these eggs over here. Should have a nice, smooth, silky texture to this. And then make sure that you get that egg all the way mixed in. And then we're going to combine it with that flour, salt, and the baking soda. And then get it in the pan and into the oven, and then that's when the wait happens. This looks good. All right, so let's bring our flour over here. Get this in there. Make sure you get it all out. Good to the last drop. All right, so let's mix this up. And I like to just go around and just move my bowl around and scrape down the sides, and then that gets all the flour and everything in there. All right, come on back when I'm done. We're going to go ahead and add the walnuts and then get it in the pan and stick it in the oven. All right, so we've got it all mixed up, so then I'm going to wait, and then I add in the vanilla at the end, and you're going to do 1 teaspoon, and I happen to have a half a teaspoon in my hand, so I'm going to do 2. And there's such a variety of vanilla extract when you go to the store. Yesterday I went shopping at my favorite store, Pinsy's, and I was shopping for a gift for a friend, and noticed that they had actually Indonesian. I usually pick up the Mexican extract, and but yeah, I was surprised that there were so many different ones. There's actually one from China, a couple other countries in there, so it'll be interesting to research that. But mix that around, and then once you get this going, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to fold in our walnuts. And I like to just do like half of them, and then gently fold them in, because you've already toasted them and they're chopped and they're crunchy, so they are a little brittle right now when you go ahead and mix them in. So, okay, let's stick the rest of them in there. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what it is when it comes to banana bread. The smell in the house just drives everybody to the kitchen, and the question is when? So that's why I said I'd like to do it when everybody's out. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it in our 4.5 by 8.5 inch bread pan, and just make sure that you evenly do it into the pan. Set that down, and then I like to set it on the counter and just drop it a couple of times just to get it level, but not too hard like that. Perfect. I got a little on my finger. And so now we're going to stick it in that oven, which is 350 degrees, and then you're going to start checking it about 50-55 minutes, and just stick that toothpick in there, and when it comes out clean, you're ready to go, and let it cool for about 15-20 minutes is best, because if you try to cut it before it's cool, you're going to tear it, and it's just going to be this big old crumbly mess. And I mean, there's nothing better than just picking it and eating it up, but if you want to serve it and want it to look right, then that's what you want to do. And then we're going to set it in the middle of the rack in the oven, and so come on back, we'll get this going. We're good. So we're going to go ahead and pull it out of the oven. We're going to let it rest for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to cut into it and take our bite. So come on back. All right, welcome back. So it was hard to let this cool for 20 minutes, but I did. And as you can see, it is nice and beautiful. And let's get a bite of this. I actually like the heel. No one else likes it, so there's some hardiness to it. So. It's still moist. It's just not so moist that it's like dripping and it's falling apart, and it's a lot more firm. And then when you toast those walnuts, that just gives it a nice little crunchy flavor. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I hope this recipe makes it into your home. Until next time, let's get cooking.